Be'lakor is the oldest and very first Demon Prince of Chaos Undivided. He was also possibly the first mortal ever to be raised to demonhood. And who knows the cryptic status of the Demon Primarch's loyalties? I mean, are Perturabo or Lorgar truly Chaos Undivided? If not, then Be'lakor could indeed be the only Demon Prince of Chaos Undivided, though I highly doubt he is. He's also known as the First Damned and the Dark Master. Be'lakor is also a demon prince that exists in more than one reality at once. But within the Warhammer 40,000 verse, the demon was once an ordinary mortal. Well, not ordinary, but an incredibly successful and potent warlord of ancient times. The Chaos Gods were inclined to raise the general to demonhood, yet it was only dependent on Be'lakor being his own master, something that the Chaos Gods would be very willing to humor him with, though his will has never been his own. By being given a portion of each god's power, he's also equally influenced by them, often in a way that represents the state of the Great Game, the eternal war between the ruinous powers and their minions within the warp. Though I know what you may be wondering, how could Slaanesh empower the Demon Prince if she who thirsts was only born during the fall of the Eldar? Well, that's because the warp doesn't exist in space-time the way that mortals can comprehend it. Once something exists in the warp, it has always existed within the warp. And if you're confused by that, then good. In any case, Be'lakor was one of the first Chaos Warlords raised to be a mighty demon prince by the machinations of all four gods of chaos. Though Be'lakor is not necessarily an ally to the forces of chaos, because he constantly seeks to slay other champions of the ruinous powers, both mortal and demonic. And though the demon thinks he's the master of his own destiny, and above all other demon princes and chosen of chaos, he's actually just a beloved pawn of all four powers. After a while of all the gods combining their power into a single demon prince, they started creating their own explicitly dedicated to them. Since Be'lakor is such a wild card and chaotic, they needed servants more easily moved on the chessboard, though their love for Be'lakor and his chaotic nature would never cease. Despite being the first demon prince and the most powerful, which is arguable concerning the demon primarchs, he'd lose portions of his power as it was channeled into other champions of chaos. And this is why Be'lakor hates the chosen of the Chaos Gods, and it's why he slays them or undermines them to lose favor wherever he can, because every time he does so, he regains portions of his once unlimited warp power. He's manipulated many champions of chaos over the millennia, as well as failing to manipulate many, usually influencing them to their own demise or failure somehow. He's even offered to make Ahriman, the Thousand Suns renegade sorcerer, to be his champion, and he's also been among the ranks of Abaddon's Black Legion. However, the War Master saw through Be'lakor's deception and actively manipulates him back as well, which allows him to utilize the Demon Prince reliably, despite the demon trying to undermine him constantly. And the coming of the Great Rift was a game changer for Be'lakor. The First Damned even played a role in the fall of Cadia, because he unknowingly failed in the Chaos Gods trying to keep the Imperial Fists from the Battle of Cadia, specifically the Phalanx. Before the battle, Warsmith Shant II, the most hated enemy of the Fists, had allied with Be'lakor to attack the Phalanx. Shant II wanted to make Abaddon look bad, and he planned to hijack the Phalanx and bring its guns to fire upon Terra itself. The Imperial Fists fought valiantly against the Warsmith and Be'lakor, but would have eventually fallen if not for the Legion of the Damned, their timely arrival, Deus Ex Machina, completely saving the day. In the end, Shantu and Be'lakor were defeated, and the Phalanx moved to support Cadia against the forces of Chaos, which was a drastic game changer, giving Imperial forces a massively advantageous wild card. The Phalanx saved countless Cadians as the world shattered under the Blackstone Fortress, as well as basically saving all the survivors of the Imperial forces. The Chaos Gods sent Be'lakor to stop the Phalanx from supporting Cadia, despite the Daemon Prince being completely unaware of it and just thinking it was going about its own agenda. Be'lakor wields a pretty powerful occult demon weapon, the Blade of Shadows, which is a giant demon sword that seems to shift in and out of reality, making it able to penetrate the mightiest armor like a hot knife through butter. Much like Be'lakor himself, the blade seems to shift into cascading shadow and smoke randomly, making both the blade and the demon appear pretty unnerving to mortals, and those ordinary humans who are in the demon's presence immediately suffer supernatural dread. However, despite being a mighty force on the battlefield, able to match any in martial might, he's also equally influenced by Tzeentch. The god of fate loves to manipulate and pull strings to change the ways of the galaxy, and Be'lakor enjoys playing entire civilizations, just like a game, similar to the architect of fate himself. Be'lakor has been a god of entire galactic empires over the eons, and greatly enjoys tricking mortals to their own demise on a massive, grand scale. However, even though he's had massive power and influence over countless mortals spanning eons, Be'lakor has purposely kept his existence relatively unknown. Inquisitive minds seeking eldritch knowledge found his name cryptically spoken of in forbidden texts and mysterious hieroglyphs. Relics of the being have been found across a plethora of dead worlds. Statues and primitive pictographs of the entity have been found in caves across the remnants of tons of fallen civilizations, with all just whispering the many mysteries concerning the first Daemon Prince. None have ever learned of his origins or the true nature of the first damned. Mortals who have delved too deep into lore concerning Be'lakor have been driven mad, and the many lies and misdirection concerning his history have left even the most scholarly and wise of the mortal races puzzled. In fact, none know the true nature and litany of deeds revolving around the demon, with not even the Grey Knights able to classify him objectively, or his origins for that matter. Tech-Magos Kyber Arbrastri devoted his entire life to the study of the first damned. The Mechanicus scholar found much concerning the ancient past of the demon, and despite his vast inhuman intellect and extended lifespan far beyond what's natural, even Kyber knows little in anything resembling objectivity concerning Be'lakor. He actually thinks the demon is just some alien overlord who's been worshipped and ruled countless civilizations over eons all across the galaxy. But unknown to Kyber, he too has just been a simple pawn of Be'lakor, manipulated by the Daemon Prince throughout his entire lifespan of researching him. The Tech-Magos has both erased Be'lakor's presence in history, essentially by gathering the ancient relics, because then the evidence of his presence is removed, and he has also returned objects of power to him at the same time. However, despite this, a fascinating thing about Kyber's research is that much of Be'lakor is linked to the Dark Age of technology, a time when humanity's technology was so advanced, it's beyond the comprehension of the primitive Imperium of the 41st millennium. And now that the Great Rift is in full swing and chaos is just all across the Dark Imperium, Imperium Nihilus, Be'lakor has allegedly been recorded in Imperial records once more. None know the true goals of Be'lakor, but apparently he's once again working with the War Master in his latest crusade against the Imperium of Man.
He is not many, he is one. He is the first, a creature as old as creation itself. He has moved unseen between the stars for millennia, twisting the fates of many races and feeding upon their misery. But I have found him. I have learned his name.